The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to another GoldMine 101, our regular series of short presentations giving you hints and tips for getting the most out of GoldMine CRM. And this morning I'm going to cover email rules in GoldMine, a way of getting GoldMine to process what happens to emails that come into your GoldMine system or outgoing emails. So, hello, my name is Tim Wilmot, and my company, Wizard Systems, we're a specialist CRM system supplier who help small and mid-sized companies all over the UK and further afield improve their sales productivity, marketing, and customer service through the use of simple and affordable solutions like GoldMine. Now, this presentation will be about 10 minutes or so. I'm just really giving an overview of email rules. There can be a lot to it. When I start showing you all of the different options in there, it might start your imagination going, and it could do some really clever things for you. If you need any assistance on this capability or any capability of GoldMine, my company, Wizard Systems, we offer lots of training and support options to help you. Now, the audio part of this presentation is one way only. If you've got any questions, please type them into your question box on your meeting control panel. I'll do my best to answer those at the end. Also at the end, I'll give you an update on some GoldMine product news that I've got for you, just to keep you up to date. And this session has been recorded. After the presentation, you'll get an email from our system with a link to recording. You can play back when you want to, and it will be on our YouTube channel as well. Just go to Wizard Systems and you'll see a GoldMine playlist up there with well over 100 GoldMine videos. So before we get into email rules, just a quick mention about Wizard Systems. We're a leading supplier of CRM and GoldMine, and we provide the total service as well as the software upgrades, implementation, full training. Obviously, during the current pandemic, that's online at the moment, so we can provide any kind of training for you in an online basis, very interactive wherever you are. And our support help desk is functioning as per normal, although we're working from home, but it's business as usual for us. Okay, so let's get into email rules in GoldMine. So to get to rules, the email rules center, as it's called, you just go into the email center in GoldMine, right click over your name, go to options and go to email rules, and you will see this screen. The rules that you create fall into two camps. There's either your own private rules, your own personal rules, which is what I'm looking at now. This top button up here, global rules, that allows you to toggle to see the company-wide rules, or click it again, go back to just your rules, just what's GoldMine going to do to emails that come in just for you or that you send out. So here's some that I've created already. It's probably easier for me to dive into one of these existing rules here rather than creating one from scratch. There is a default email rule set here. So just a bit of terminology. There's a rule set. So here is a set of rules, a rule set called new sales lead, call it what you want to. And then within that rule set, there's a bunch of rules. And those rules consist of basically trigger conditions, and actions. So it's looking for some bit of information on an email, who it's from, or some text in the email message, and then if the condition is true, what do you want to do? What's the action that's going to take place automatically? So let me just edit this one. I'm just going to double click on it to edit it. Very simple to get into it. So this little rule here called new sales lead. So I give it a meaningful name, so I know roughly what it's all about. And then I can say to GoldMine, well, is this only to do with incoming emails, outgoing emails, or both. Maybe more likely to be either incoming or outgoing, perhaps not always a combination of the two. So just a brief little title of this rule set there. So click next. And then I have the one or many trigger conditions. You can see a couple I've put in there already. So the subject contains lead, and where it's come from contains GoldMine. Right above that, I can also define a further parameter, do those two conditions need to be true, or just one of them, for example. If I create a new one, I'll be able to show you the range of different conditions you've got in this rule definition. So first of all, mail field. So where is it in the email that I'm looking for some kind of value or condition? And of course, I guess you are pretty limited with email. You know, it's either who it's come from, who it's going to, what's in the subject line, what's in the actual body, what's in the body of the email. Does it have an attachment? Yes or no? So there's some typical things there. So I could go into, for example, let me go into, for example, the subject again. I'm thinking about including an additional search criteria for the subject. So next, the logical condition, well, pretty standard if you're used to creating filters in GoldMine, exactly the same thing. You know, the word or phrase you're looking for, what is it going to be? What's the operator of finding that value? So I could now type in an additional search criteria. Maybe I'll have the word inquiry. So I'm looking for the word lead. I'm looking for the word inquiry in this additional rule. Click OK. Now I've got 3, and so on. Once I've defined my one or many conditions, triggers for this rule, I just click next here to go to the action. What do you want to take place? Well, there could be more than one action, of course. I've got one there already. I'm going to forward it to an email address. If I click new here, I can show you then the range of different actions that you've got, quite extensive. Let me just scroll to the top. So we can file this email, forward it to a user or another email address, redirect it. Of course, a subtle difference between the two. Reply to it with a particular email or message, and so on. Mark as read. Notify with a sound is quite a good one. If you want a particular sound effect, if a new lead comes in, maybe some rousing music or something, or a warning sound, or anything that you want to. The way of dealing with attachments as well, quarantining attachments, is not the right word. If it's got maybe a particular extension, you know, a .exe, for example, a zip file. So loads of different actions that might take place there. Let me just cancel that. And then to activate these rules, you just need to tick that little box there. So this is now activated. It's active, and because I cancelled it, I'm actually monitoring now. It's just confirming that particular rule set. So that particular rule set is active, and it's handling incoming and outgoing emails. So a great part of GoldMine to manage the way emails are handled in your GoldMine system, to make sure that the right thing is done, to make sure that important emails aren't missed, to make sure that the distribution of the email, depending on a certain subject or something in the body of the email, goes to the right people. It just basically saves you time and making sure that nothing nothing slips through the net, which is very often what a CRM system should be doing for you. So I hope that's been of interest to you. If you're not using email rules right now in GoldMine, give it a go. You can't really do much damage, but just do a little test first of all on emails. Send yourself an email, get a colleague to send you an email, or send out an email to a colleague. Keep it sort of internal before you run live with your client facing your client related emails. Right, as we normally do here, you'll be familiar with the format. Those people that are regular attendees, little Q&A session around this feature. If you've got any question, please type that into the question box on your meeting control panel. Question from Sophie. I want to transfer emails to a Gmail account. Will it work? Yes, it will. Yeah, no problem with Gmail. I've used it myself with Gmail. Works really well. You need to give it a few seconds. It won't be instant, but normally within a minute or two, you're going to get emails transferred to whatever email addresses that you've defined in that rule. Geraint, so I assume this is not working on Outlook, just GoldMine, question mark. Yeah, that's an important point there. These rules are only working with an email that hits the GoldMine system. So if you're using the built-in Outlook link that's provided with GoldMine, if that email hasn't hit GoldMine, that rule will not. It's got nothing. It's just physically not in the database. These rules are only working on things that are in the GoldMine system. Okay, so that's just to be clear there. ABC asking, is this a good way to deal with spam? Really, going back to the last question, yes, if you're quite happy that, and in fact, I did show you a very brief example on my screen of a number of conditions where you're defining who has it come from, what's actually contained in the subject. Does it contain the word free? Does it contain the word COVID? Does it contain the word whatever it might be that you're looking for, and dealing with that? But the email has to come into your GoldMine system. It may be far better to deal with spam at a higher level, at your email server level, or your internet service provider, your email provider, like Google. They'll be actually defining the spam rules as well. So there is a higher level beyond GoldMine. What I've covered here is just emails coming into the GoldMine system and processing in that way. Okay, don't think there's any more questions. Thanks very much, the three of you there. Let me just keep you updated with GoldMine news. So during the current period, all our training's online. If you've got any requirements, anybody wanting some brush up training, additional help on GoldMine, please contact me or any of the team at Wizard Systems. We'd be happy to answer you. The latest release of GoldMine. Now, there's been a new hotfix 3 in the last few days. That's that number there. So it's 2019.1. That's the kind of major release, and then after the 1 is a 3. So this hotfix 3. And if you've been watching, if you've been attending our previous GoldMine weekly sessions, I've been mentioning the imminent 2020 release. Well, I've got some news on that. Basically, since the current pandemic crisis, it's become more critical worldwide. The GoldMine, well, basically, GoldMine have been notified by both Microsoft and Google that they now have delayed their plans to enforce greater email security by disabling the simple authentication, say that some applications have. So in the case of Google, enforcing advanced security additions by removing the ability to allow less secure applications to connect to the Gmail platform. So this delay, anyway, basically this delay means that for the time being, no Google or Microsoft email account will be changed, okay? No need to worry. The previous timeframes that these companies had, and that was June the 15th for Google Gmail to discontinue using this LSA, less secure applications access. It was October for Microsoft and February 2021 for some other Google Gmail accounts. That's all been halted. So none of the providers have announced an update on the time frame of any changes being brought in. So therefore, GoldMine will continue working on implementing OAuth in the email center for these two services. So more on that later on. But basically, you're okay at the moment, no problems, no imminent requirement to be concerned about the security because Microsoft and Google have delayed their, have basically shelved for the time being because of the current pandemic, their implementation of that. So if you understood all that, my little ranting there, no need to be concerned, but please be aware, this latest release is up there. We'll put it up on our GoldMine blog when we've got more information together about what's physically in Hotfix 3. And if you've got a maintenance contract, you can, of course, download it. So that's Hotfix 3. That's the end of this morning's, our weekly session on email rules. New topic next week. If you've got any ideas for a topic that you are wondering about, can GoldMine do this? Can GoldMine do that? Or how do I do this in GoldMine? Just drop me a line, tim@wizard-systems.com. There's all our other contact details. Go up to YouTube Wizard Systems as a channel. There's a GoldMine playlist up there. So thanks very much for your time, those listening live, and catch up with you same time next week. Thanks very much indeed. Bye-bye.